Hi Phyllis, myself Rick, and welcome to my channel. I just recently qualified NISM Series VIII Equity Derivatives examination, and in this video, I'll be talk about that whole structure about NISM Series VIII. How can you prepare for that? If you are planning to give your NISM Series VIII, especially in 2026, how can it be very beneficial and why you should go for this examination? What are the benefits that you will get from this certificate, which is conducted by SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India. So my first structure of this video would be like I will divide into four topics. In the first topic, I'll be giving you the whole introduction and the breakdown about this NISM. I'll be also talk about some pros and cons about this examination and some of the my personal opinion about this examination. Pursuing this kind of certification, why it is important. So especially if you are in your first year of college, or maybe you just recently graduated from your college, and I feel like that like finance, I like stock market, but I don't have any certification or something. In this way, I feel like that this kind of certification, like there are lots of bunch of certification that I just already talked about in my previous video. You can also check it out. So the first thing would be for NISM 8, you will understand the stock market, especially derivatives, because this is a big part. And especially if I talk about that, it is definitely perfect for student, like if you are in your bachelor degree, you are an undergrad student. Right now, if you are planning to make your career, especially in equity research, or maybe in any kind of finance domain, maybe corporate finance or personal finance, doesn't matter, but you have to understand the market first, because there is a lots of domains in finance field. But you have to understand, you know you have to build your foundation first. And for foundation, especially for finance, you have to understand derivatives, because derivatives is something that gives you a very big leverage that you can use, especially in your future life. So that's why I feel like that it's a cheap exam. Just you have to spend 1500 rupees for this examination. And to be honest, 20 to 30 days preparation is enough for cracking this exam. And it is very required from SEBI, that if you really wanted to do something, or you want to be a professional derivative analyst, then you should go for this examination. So and there are lots of things that you can also go for and check it out. There are lots of other courses, but for me, I feel like that foundation, you have to understand the foundation. So there is a free NISM certificate that you can pursue, and then you should go for NISM series A, because this will clear your all doubt. After clearing this examination, you understand the market in a proper way, and then maybe you will understand what kind of career do you want in your finance way. So this is the exact thing that I'm just talking about now. My second part would be how to prepare for these examinations, especially in 2026. So I'll be very clear with you. I just recently qualified this examination, and to be honest, it is not that easy. There are lots of YouTubers, or there are lots of people say it's a very easy exam. I studied for 2 days and I just cracked this exam. Yes, definitely you can, if you have a market knowledge. Yeah, especially for students like me, being an average student, it is really really tough. I'm not saying it's tough. It's a practical and logical base. If you understand strategies, there are some of chapters like option strategies, future strategies, and there are some payoff charts. And to be honest, when I just go for this examination, the sets questions are very tricky, and they use some finance professional word. So it feels like for students, it's not for students exam, it's for like professional who are been into the market for 4 to 5 years. They can go for this kind of examination. It is not for us especially. But the thing is, like, if you really wanted to do something and being a professional, you have to crack this kind of examination. And it is not a rocket science that you can never it's like you can compare NISM with CFA or FRM, because those are very big and hardcore level examination. But as I said, as a beginner, you should go for this examination. If you study well, if your logic is right, you can definitely gonna clear this examination. There are 10 chapters and 10 chapter has a good weightage, but each chapter has their own ability and own importance. So don't neglect any kind of chapters if you are preparing for this examination. So I would be saying there are 3 to 4 chapters which feel so tricky, like especially for, if you are a non-finance guy, or if you doesn't even know about the stock market, if you feel like just buying call and put option is just a stock market, but it not. There are lots of payoff, there are lots of things, there are lots of market strategy to understand tick size, and there are lots of um, there are lots of things that you will learn from this series. So my pro tips to prepare for this examination is, you will get one workbook from NISM when you just enroll to your website. Like, you don't have to pay them amount, you just go log in your just register with NISM Sebi portal, and you will get the exact workbook that you get. And please read the workbook very carefully, because this is your gem. Because if you neglect that workbook, that means you are neglects your examination, that will gonna fail. Because this will fail your exam, because this examination has a negative marking of 0.25% negative marking for one each wrong question. So be prepared for this. And to be honest, if you really feel like that we just need to score 60%, so it is very easy to score. But to be honest, when you're just looking for that, it is not that easy. I'm not saying it's very complicated, like I'm not gaslighting myself or gaslighting you. But to be honest, I'm just gonna talk about one thing, that it is not that hardcore level of examination, like you can't compare with CFA. But it's not that easy. So you know you have to change your mindset. If I'm preparing for NISM, so it's not a college exam, or it is not a exam, it's like a complicated exam like other exam. If you're saying that, if you are preparing for this examination, please be prepared for that, and make your logical thinking, trying to understand payoffs and trying to understand strategies. If you want, I can also explain some of the topics. But yeah, so this is how you will be structured. You will give some of the MCQs from the portal. You have to register, you have to pay your payment, and you will get MCQs for mock test series kind of stuff. And there are lots of practice questions bank, which is easily available in the especially in net. But I'll be very honest with you, because I know I just cleared this examination, especially in 2026. The exam was tricky for me, for my case, and I feel like some of the other guys who are also go for this examination with me, they're also saying that it's not that it is not easy anymore, because the question was tricky. And I feel like this is a very popular course for SEBI, so that's why they upgrade their questions pattern and make it a little difficult, so they can understand that, yeah, people have a good logic, so they can prepare for this examination in a very good manners. And also, as I talk about this, so as I talk about the practice question paper, so you have to go for almost like 3 to 4 mock tests before enroll, or before just go for your book your examination slot. Because if your mock test have 70 to 80% of accuracy of correct examination, also minus your negative marking, and if you get 80% or 75% score, so that means you are eligible, you can go and book your examination. But if your score are just below than 70%, that means you have a conceptual what can I say, like a conceptual negligence, and you have to go and really check it out those chapters, and trying to understand payoff in a better way. And there are lots of strategy, there are lots of practical strategy builder apps that it can use to understand the especially strategies like bull calls, spread, covered call, protected put, every kind of strategies which is really been in your NISM curriculum, so you can go and check it out also. And one more things, that pro tips for me: use Gemini. Just you have to prompt something like give just take some of the sample papers, and tell your Gemini that make a good prompt and make a good mock test for me and make it hard. Because if you are practicing some hard questions, it will be very easy to crack this examination. And to be, don't rely on other, there are lots of um, websites that they claim that we have a good mock test, and if you just clear those mock tests, it can be very easy to clear this examination. And to be honest, it is easy. I'm not saying that it is not, as I said before, that it is not easy, but I says easy to moderate. But it is also depend on person, it person to person. Because if you have an experience of 5 to 4 years experience, especially in stock market, so it's a very, cupcake examination for you. But some peoples like us, it not, because I'm not familiar with stock market before. So that's why it's kind of a little tricky for me. So I have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for that if you have the same situation like me. So this is one of the point that I just really wanted to share with you. Now let me talk about the exam structure. So you will get 100 MCQs. 60% is passing mark with negative marking of 0.25. My approach would be like, don't attend every questions, just attend 80 questions and go for those questions. If you are have a good clarity about, if you are preparing for mock, please take a mock of 3. It would be very effective and very helpful. Please not, you know just go for the mock, to be honest. And if you are go for the first examination, so your first step would be like, first of all, you have to go for those questions that you are really know that yes, this would be the answer. Go for those questions. Then go for those questions which you feel like the one option or maybe the second option would be right. Just go for that. And if you feel like that this question is very tricky, I don't know, uh, I'm unfamiliar with the question, so please trying to avoid that. Because negative marking will, you know less your chance to pass this examination. I saw some of the people, there are lots of people who fail this examination. And to be honest, after you know getting that, after seeing in my own eyes, I feel like, man, come on, this is not that easy. Like some people, some fellas are trying to, giving that it's a very easy exam. It's not. If you have a good conceptual clarity, to be honest, this is a very easy exam. But if you doesn't have a conceptual clarity, you feel like that, oh, every YouTuber, every guy just making a video that NISM a very easy exam, so I can definitely gonna pass it. So to be honest, you're never gonna know. To be honest, I'm not yapping about, I'm not lying, I'm not gaslighting myself or you guys. So yeah, this is the thing. Now the last thing, that what is these benefits for giving or go for NISM series set, or maybe especially for SEBI exams. To be honest, if you are, it's also depending your mindset. Why I'm saying that, because see, I'm a student, right? I'm not go for any jobs, or I really wanted to do it. There are lots of people are taking NISM Series VIII exam, equity derivatives, for they are traders. They really wanted to sharp their careers, wanted to be a professional traders, trying to go for those farms related stuff. And when they just go to farm people say that you need NISM Series VIII. So this is a eligibility criteria for people who have a good knowledge and doing trading for 4 to 5 years. And if you really wanted to move yourself ahead, so then you just need this certificate. So this is my perspective about job sector. I feel like this is a short term course, you can also clear this examination, so don't expect that you will get a job from doing this kind of short term certificate. It is not that easy. Even though people are graduating from a good college, people doesn't even get jobs. So don't think that a normal certificate will get you job. But it would be very effective for your resume, for your LinkedIn profile, or maybe for your knowledge perspective. So always do certificate for your knowledge. If you have a good knowledge, so then it would be very effective. So don't think about job, because at the end point, your knowledge matter, doesn't matter other things. So yeah, this is my perspective for NISM series set. If you have any other questions, so comment is open, just go and comment anything, and I'll be very available. I'm very available to give your answer. And yeah, so this is my perspective. I think it would be helpful for you guys. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.